Have you ever opened your phone just to check one thing? And somehow, 10 minutes later, you're staring at a shopping cart filled with stuff you didn't even know you needed? Maybe it was a hoodie you didn't plan to buy. Or a gadget you saw in a short video. Or something you added because it was on discount. And here's the strange part. At the moment you clicked buy now, it didn't even feel like a decision. It felt automatic. Almost like your hand moved before your brain had time to argue. Now here's the question most people never ask. Why does spending money sometimes feel like not thinking at all? Because there is a psychological trick happening in your mind every single day. A trick so normal, so invisible, that most people never realize it exists. And once you understand it, you'll start noticing how often your money is being spent before you even feel like you made a choice. Problem setup. Most people believe spending money is simple. You see something. You decide if you want it. Then you either buy it or don't. That's what we think is happening. But in reality, your brain doesn't work like a calculator. It works more like a pattern machine. It tries to save energy by avoiding deep thinking for everyday decisions. Because thinking takes effort. And your brain is always looking for shortcuts. So instead of asking, is this the best use of my money? It often switches to something much easier. Have I seen this before? Or, does this feel good right now? And this is where the real problem begins. Because modern marketing, social media, and shopping apps don't try to make you think harder. They do the opposite. They try to make you think less. They remove friction. They reduce effort. They make decisions feel instant. And when thinking becomes optional, spending becomes automatic. Core explanation. Let's break this down with a simple situation. Imagine you're scrolling on your phone at night. You're not planning to buy anything. But then you see a video. Top 5 gadgets you didn't know you needed. You watch it casually. One product catches your attention. It looks cool. Useful. Affordable. Now something interesting happens in your mind. Instead of thinking, I need this, your brain quietly shifts into a different mode. This looks familiar. I understand it. I can imagine using it. And that feeling of familiar understanding is extremely powerful. Because your brain trusts what feels familiar more than what is logically correct. Even if you've never owned the product. Even if you don't actually need it. If it feels familiar, your brain treats it as safe. And safe things are easy to approve. Now add one more layer. The Buy Now button. That tiny button removes the final barrier, effort. No talking to a salesperson. No waiting. No thinking long. No planning. Just one click. So what happens? Your brain combines two things. Familiar feeling, I've seen this before. Zero effort action, I can get it instantly. And that combination creates something powerful. Automatic spending. Not because you were convinced, but because you were never forced to slow down. Now here's the psychological trick behind it. Your brain is constantly trying to avoid decision fatigue. Every decision uses mental energy. What to eat? What to wear? What to watch? What to reply? By the end of the day, your brain becomes lazy with decisions. So when a purchase appears in that tired state, it doesn't evaluate deeply. It simply looks for the easiest answer. Yes or no? And most of the time, yes feels easier. Because saying no requires discipline. Saying yes requires nothing. This is why most impulsive spending doesn't happen in the morning. It happens at night. Not because you suddenly want things more, but because your brain is tired of thinking. AI flow the shift in understanding. Now let's connect all of this. The real trick is not the product. It's not the discount. It's not even the advertisement. The real trick is this: making spending feel like a non-decision. When your brain stops treating spending as a decision, it stops using logic. And when logic is turned off, emotion takes over. And emotion is fast. It doesn't analyze. It reacts. That's why you can go from "I'm just browsing" to "I bought it already" in less than 30 seconds. And later, when you check your bank account, you feel confused. How did I spend this much? But nothing mysterious happened. Your brain simply followed the path of least resistance. And in today's world, almost everything is designed to make that path easier. One-click purchases, saved cards, auto checkout, buy now pay later, personalized ads. All of it removes friction. And friction is what used to protect your money. Without friction, spending becomes like scrolling. Smooth, fast, automatic. Insight section. Here's the deeper truth most people never realize. You don't spend money because you truly want things. You spend money because the decision to buy was made before you even noticed it was a decision. By the time your conscious mind enters the process, the emotional decision is already complete. That's why logic rarely wins in impulsive spending. Because logic shows up late. So what actually controls spending? 3 invisible forces. First, familiarity. If something feels normal or repeated, your brain trusts it. Second, ease. If buying feels effortless, your brain reduces resistance. Third, emotional state. If you're tired, bored, stressed, or distracted, your brain avoids deep thinking. When these 3 combine, you don't feel like you're making a financial decision. You feel like you're just following the flow. But that flow is not neutral. It is designed. And once you start seeing this pattern, something changes. You stop blaming yourself for lack of discipline. And you start noticing something more important. A lot of spending is not a personality issue. It is a design issue. Your environment is built to make spending easier than saving. Practical takeaway. So what can you actually do with this knowledge? You don't need extreme budgeting. You don't need to stop spending completely. You just need to reintroduce one thing: delay. Because delay brings back thinking. When you delay a purchase even slightly, you break the automatic pattern. The emotional wave starts to fade. And your logical brain gets time to catch up. Even something simple like, "I'll buy it tomorrow if I still want it." That small gap changes everything. Because now, spending becomes a decision again. Not a reflex. Another powerful shift is this: make spending slightly harder. Remove saved cards. Turn off one-click payments. Add friction back into the system. It sounds simple, but it works because your brain is lazy by design. If something is harder, it automatically becomes less tempting. Not because your desire changed, but because the effort increased. And lastly, become aware of your low-energy spending moments. Late night scrolling. Stress after work. Boredom on weekends. These are the moments where your financial guard is lowest. And awareness alone reduces impulsive behavior more than willpower ever can. Ending. So the next time you find yourself about to buy something randomly, pause for a second and ask, did I decide this, or did this decision happen automatically? Because most financial mistakes are not made in big dramatic moments. They are made in small invisible ones. When your brain is tired. When your attention is low. When thinking feels optional. And once you understand this psychology trick, you stop seeing spending as a simple choice. You start seeing it as a system. And when you can see the system clearly, you don't just spend differently. You think differently. And that changes everything about how money flows in your life.